So the today's chapter is Political Science, Unit 1, the problems of India and their solutions. What problems does this India is facing nowadays? Okay, so India has numerous problems. Okay, we have numerous problems in our country. So as India is very big country, geographically, economically, or if you see population wise, so India is very big. So being being this much big country, India even is having lots of problems. The first problem is the unemployment. The first problem is unemployment. What is unemployment? So unemployment is a situation where a person does not find work accordance to his capacity or qualification. See, you people have done doctor, okay, you have studied MBBS, say you have studied MBBS, but you are getting job of just waiter. So how it looks? So you are not getting job as you have studied. So you people have studied very high qualification courses, but you people are highly qualified, but the job which you are getting is not that much satisfactory, and the profile which you are working is not in which you have studied. So this is nothing but the unemployment. India has a huge population and unemployment is a big problem. So as India is around 130 crore people country, 130 crore people country needs lots of jobs. Okay, because billions of people are there in India, therefore we need millions and billions of jobs also to survive, or to survive in our country. We need, everyone needs job, right? So that job must come from government, private sectors, and from all other resources which are of job, but we are not getting that job nowadays. That is what the India is facing, the biggest problem of unemployment. So usually the population and improvement in technology are considered as the two reasons of unemployment. So the reason for this unemployment is, first is population. As our population is very big, so how many members should get the job? That is what the problem. If one post is there, more than 100 people are applying for that post. So to whom they have to give the job? So first problem is our population. Second problem is improvement in technology. If technology is improving, so job will be reduced automatically. See, if 1,000 people are doing one calculation, this computer, only single computer can do that calculation in few minutes. So which one you will prefer? You will go for computer, not for the physical people. Therefore, increase in technology and increase in population is the main problem for unemployment. So over dependency of agriculture, apart from these two, shortage of natural resources, over dependency of agriculture, ruined cottage industries, and lack of skill-based education. Unemployment has become a huge problem. According to Census 2011, the poverty rate is 21.9%. So this indicates the growing issue. Both the central and state government have taken various measures to generate employment for the people. So as our India is very big, so we are having very large populous country, and educated section is also very big. So due to this, even we are, lots of people are depending on agriculture. In agricultural sector also, we are not getting that much of jobs. Even in agriculture, even in education, everywhere we are lacking in the sense of jobs. So according to 2011 census, the poverty rate is 21.9% is the poverty rate. So due to these indications, so central government and state governments have taken many steps to improve the job conditions in our India. So what are those steps? Improve the skill level of the job seekers so that they can have better access to the employment. See, if your skills are improved, then you can get a good job. See, you people have studied, say, you are now teacher, but You don't know how to take online classes, but these people, government people, what they will do, they will train you. They will train you and they will give you the knowledge how to take these online classes. Then you can get more opportunity to get the job. So this is what the government, state government and central government are doing. They are improving your skills, improving the people's skills, so that they will get the chances of getting job will be increased, and also providing loans and subsidy to enable people to engage in self-employment. So not only seeking the job, you have to involve in your self-employment. You should become self-sufficient, so that the government is giving loans and subsidies. And also, in reality, handicrafts and products created out of self-employment are unable to compete with the goods created by globalized economy, and this has further complicated the issue of unemployment. See, one more thing what happening is, see, one person is there, he is a pot maker. This pot maker is making this pot, and here one refrigerator is there. Which one you will prefer? You people will prefer the refrigerator, not this pot. So this handicraft, where these people should go? So this is what the India is also facing. Even cottage industries and small scale industries have lost their self sufficiency, and they are not getting enough money or enough revenue from the business they are doing. Therefore, everyone is depending on the globalized fancy products, not localized product. Therefore, this is also one of the big reasons for the unemployment. Apart from this, every citizen of the country should be encouraged to indulge one or the other employment by providing job-oriented courses, all on the strategy think on. So even Indian government is doing professional courses. It is also providing professional courses, in that you will get job oriented courses. See, if you are studying just science, what job you will get? Nothing. If you are studying engineering, you will get job. If you are studying medical, then you will get job. So these are professional courses. Even ITI, diploma, these all are the professional courses. If you be get trained under the government for these all courses, you will definitely get the job. So this is what Indian government, even state government and central government has taken many steps to improve our condition. To improve our condition. Next problem. Next problem is the biggest one, that is corruption. As you people know, India is one of the most corrupted countries in the world. So as Indian economy is very, very big, we people are educated, we people are still in the corruption. Okay, still if you go to the government officers, your work will not be done if you're not giving bribe to them. So corruption is another social evil in the public life of India. Now the corruption has spread to all strata of the society. Corruption means offering a bribe and following any other illegal means to achieve some illegal benefits. Corruption stays away from legal framework in its operation. This is also can be defined as misuse of public authority for the personal gains. Sweeping away all the procedures for narrow personal gain can also be termed as a corruption. So it has become the contagious disease in the personal life. See, what is happening is, see, if a person A is there here, this person A wants to get some caste certificate. So this will take around 15 days. According to government procedures, it should take around 15 days. But this person is very rich now. He wants caste certificate in 2 days. So what he will do? He will just give money to the government officer, and that government officer will do his work by passing many government authorities. Just in 2 days, he will do that in duplicate form, and that will be given to this person, and he will be get benefited, and this middleman will also be get benefited, but the government will be getting the loss. So this is what, to gain our personal operation, personal work, we are giving bribe to the other person who is there in higher authority. So that person is taking the bribe and he is doing your work with a narrow personal gain. So this is what the corruption is. Corruption stays away from the legal framework and its operation. Means we are not doing here anything legally. It is all about illegal activities. Illegally we are getting. See, person A is from Pakistan, say, sorry, not Pakistan. Person A is from USA. So he liked India and he wanted to stay in India itself. So what he will do, he will go to some officials and he will say, you make me Indian citizens, I'll give you some money. These Indian people, what they will do, these officials will take some money and they will give him Aadhaar card, ration card and everything, and he will become the citizen of India. One day he will be threat to the India, say he is doing some illegal activity in India. So by doing these all things, our government is many what you call public servants or the persons who are in government positions and well-known positions, they are taking bribe to do the people work. So here the rich person will get his work and he will go, but the person who is poor will suffer very much because poor people will not have money to give bribe. So corruption influences negatively on both the personal as well as public sphere of life. So this, what it is doing is, this corruption, even it is, corruption is affecting personal as well as public life. Not only personally, it is collapsing all the people. Negatively, it is influencing all the people. It is also influencing the public authority or the public. So it influences the economic, social, political life of country. See, even some political leaders give bribe to get votes. To get votes from the people, they will give you some money. And what you will do? By taking that money, you will vote any person who is not good also. So then that person will be corrupted. As he is giving money to get that position, again he will collect that money. He will recollect that all money by illegal activities from the government agencies. So this is what the problem of India is. First is unemployment, second is corruption. So corruption is corruption of a personal ethics and a moral happens in the personal sphere. So in public sphere, liberty, nepotism, caste favoritism, and intentional shadow of work appears as a form of corruption during the election time. So all these evil practices simply find inroads into the social life. See, corruption is there in our country. Even many politicians, many government workers, many public authorities will do the corruption. They will give you some bribe to do some work, but this all corruption is increasing. Nepotism, unfavorism, and it is also giving birth to the new problems in our industry, in our industries in Indian sector. So these all things which are publicly as well as personally influencing us negatively, we have to take care of. We have to see our country in the side of morality and ethicality, not in the negativity which is affected by the corruption. Corruption is an evil, we say. So what are the steps and measures which is taken by government to reduce this corruption? So political corruption leads to the crime. So some political parties, what they are doing, they are giving bribe to get the votes or positions. So it also provides motivation for the corruption, public life and nourishments, misadministration on the part of officials like tax evacuation, illegal boarding, smuggling, economic offences, cheating, violation of international exchanges and employment, and cheating find in space enough corruption. So many people who are there in public authority, they are misusing their powers. They are doing lots of corruption in public administration. If political person is doing corruption, even the person who is working under him will do the corruption, and it will motivate all the people to do the corruption. So this is what we have to eradicate this corruption from the root, not from the stem or the leaf part. We have to eradicate it from the root. So it is impossible to root out corruption by either rejecting it at personal level or just going along with it. It can be rooted out only through the strong public ethics and morality and personal commitment. So many times, natural human tendency for selfishness, eagerness to find personal agencies and personal gain lead to the person of engaged in corruption. See, in our country, as corruption is a big problem, this corruption cannot be reduced just by the government sector, just by the government people. See, if government people have many rules and regulations, many laws are there. If you're doing corruption, you have jail, you have many, what do you call, many types of punishments are there for the corruption. But it is the people who have to understand, who have to act morally, who have to act ethically to not to do corruption. See, if I am a person here, I'm working as some officer in the government office, then I should not, I should believe that this government office is the work of God. I should not take any bribe. I should help the people. I should not ask any money in doing that work. So it is our duty to eradicate the corruption. It is not the duty of just government. It is even the duty of us that we have to understand that this is moral and ethical value, not just a punishment. So even some people are having selfish and eagerness to find personal emergency. So we have to leave these all selfishness and eagerness towards towards the riches which we are getting from the corruption. So corruption, lack of strict supervision, and weak legal enforcement leads to the corruption. And the lack of strict supervision. There is no strict supervision. If some people is there, some police person is there, some police department is there, they are not watching the person who is taking the corruption or who is taking the bribe. So they are not having a strong and strict supervision, and also political will and public support of inevitably tackling the corruption. In other words, ethical political leadership, good offering, and politically aware educate public and corruption institutions like Lokpal and Lokayukta can bring down the corruption drastically. Education institutions can take these directions. So what we have to do is we have to understand ourselves. We have to act ethically and morally that corruption is not good for us. We have, if our country wants to improve, we should not do corruption. If our country wants to improve, we should not do corruption. We have to understand it. And even we should not, we should encourage some organizations like Lokpal or Lokayukta, which can reduce the corruption drastically. Okay, and some strong leaders and political will should come up to reduce the corruption. Not only people, not only just the government. Everyone has to work handly together. We have to work to eradicate the corruption, not by one personal or not just government or not by just people. People as well as public as well as private people both should work equally to eradicate this from the root. Education institution can take lead in the direction by installing CCTV cameras in government offices and increasing efficiency of government work. We have to do CCTV cameras, we have to install them. If anyone is taking bribe, he will be identified in the CCTV camera. Measures like awarding harsh punishment for corruption. Officials can bring down the changes, increasing the number of courts and judges also rein the corruption, and in nutshell accordance coordinated efforts to need the address and this burning social problem. So what we have to do is we have to give lots of powers to the government and even policemen to give a very harsh punishment if you are doing the corruption. The person who is doing corruption should get very harsh punishment, and he should be sentenced to very harsh imprisonment and all. So it is the duty of government, that is the duty of government, and it is the duty of some private institutions that they have to install some CCTV cameras to identify the culprits. And also we have to coordinate each other to eradicate this social evil completely. So one more thing is discrimination. Everywhere there is a discrimination in our country. If you go, the people will discriminate on you on the basis of caste, sex, religion. Okay, so if you see reservation, religion, and caste, if you're a girl or boy, everywhere they used to discriminate on one or the other. See, the discrimination is on the basis of gender. If human male is there, you will get more salary. Female is there, get less salary. If caste, if you are higher caste person, you will get job. If you are lower caste person, you will not get job. And more evident in India, Indian society is made up of patchy patriarchal values. It discriminates the role woman and man according to the patriarchal values. Hence, inequalities are there between men and women on our society. See, still in our India, men and women are very much different. Men is superior than the woman. That this type of mindset is there in humans instilled in Indians. So we have to eradicate this type of mentality, and we have to treat men and women equally so that they will also get equal opportunities in equal what do you call equal opportunities in equal environment of working. So if he is male, he will get high salary. If she is a woman, she is get less salary. If male are there, they will prefer, everyone prefer male employee. Some people will not prefer female employee. So this type of discrimination should not be there in our country, and hence inequalities are between men and women, and also on the basis of caste, sex, religion, we are discriminating the people. See, just like gender discrimination, caste-based discrimination is also a challenge to the India. Even some people are discriminated on the basis of caste. You are low caste people, I am high class people. So you are poor, I am rich. This kind of situation is there in still in India. So we have to completely eradicate these problems to overcome the poverty, to overcome the discrimination, to overcome the corruption. We have to act morally and ethically. It is our duty to support the government. And caste system is a gift to Indian political system from the ancient social and system based on the Varna. Caste system is came from the ancient Indian system, that is Varna. Varna Bheda Niti. So that is called Varna, means color. On the basis of color, you are white, I am black. So this type of discrimination is also there in our India. And many measures have been taken to fight this type of discrimination. Article 17 says that right to, Article 15 is right to equality. You should not discriminate any person on the basis of caste, sex, religion, and race. But still we are discriminating people. And also the caste system continue to live even after these all efforts. So this cannot be solved only with legal interventions. In other words, in order to eradicate this system, the society also needs to prepare itself to accept the changes. Even we should not think that still we are high class, still we are low class, still she is woman, still he is man. So we should leave these all things, and we should act morally. We should think that women and men are equal. We should think that Hindu Muslims are equal. We should think that there is no low caste, there is no high caste. Everyone is equal, and everyone should get a correct job, right job for the right qualification, and everyone should be equal in India. So this type of notion, if it is developed in our mind, then definitely uh, India will be shining example in the world to eradicate these all social evils. So regional inequality is like gender and caste inequality and has posed big challenges to the India. Some regions of country have achieved a lot of progress while many parts of remains backward. So in other words, remove such inequalities in Article 371 has been amended from A to Z through the amendments backward regions and the special status. In spite of all these measures, the regional inequalities problems has grown to such an extent that many are demanding independent state and statues for themselves. In the light of these developments, there is an urgent need to eradicate regional imbalances and country as possible In Karnataka, in order to address the regional imbalances, the committee head DM Nanjundappa had given special report to various measures to lead to regional imbalances in 2001. Some of the most backward regions in Karnataka have been accorded special status by adding 371J. So from this, if I share the summary of whatever I have studied is, the summary tells us that, so in our country, many times we discriminate the people on the basis of caste, sex, and religion. Even gender equality is there. Even some type of economic inequality is there in our India. See, some people are very, very rich. Some people are very, very poor in our country. Some people are getting very high salary. Some people are getting very, very low salary still. Some people are getting full luxurious life in our country, and some people are still, they are surviving in slums and areas. So what it tells is there is a gap. There is a gap between rich and poor. These, some people are very, very rich and some people are very, very poor. So we have to reduce this gap. We have to reduce this gap, and we have to empower all the people of India to get good job, to get good education, to get good type of, what do you call, good economic standards and good lifestyle. So to achieve these all things, we have to unite, and we have to educate, or we have to inform our government. We have to address the government to eradicate these all problems. So as India is fighting many problems, so it is our self duty, it is our being Indian citizens, we have to contribute to the society that we should act equally. We sometimes wish it is our moral duty and ethical duty that we should not only depend on the government for the help, and we should do it from our end also. So many problems which India is facing. So today you have to take down the important things, whatever we have studied. That is the problems which India is facing in day-to-day life.